On Wednesday, March 5th, 2025, United Brethren Lodge celebrated Right Worshipful Richard E. Johnson's 50th year anniversary. His 50-year pen was presented by Right Worshipful Drayton Hanna. Dick reflected on those 50 years, and many friends and family had warm and gracious remarks. If you missed the presentation, you may enjoy it now.
If we can make a path here so the football players can get through and all the past masters can face the west. Yeah, maybe. Right, Worshipful.
Thank you.
I felt it only fitting to attempt to return the favor since you organized and corralled as many past masters as possible to come out for me last month. I figured we'd try and do the same for you, and we actually got, I think, 2 more come out this month. Missing last month. There were 3 others who wish they could be here with you, but unfortunately they were elsewhere. Worshipful Doug Wiles is out of town. Right Worshipful Al Campbell is also out of town. Worshipful Bob Jones just returned to Massachusetts night before last, but sorry, his grandson takes precedence over you.
Well, besides, he probably flew all the way without a plane.
Yes. But if they were not otherwise engaged elsewhere this evening, I'm sure they would be here to honor such an esteemed brother.
He threatened a lot of
That's right. But behold the past masters of your lodge. At least one of them preceded you in the east. 2? I stand corrected. You and Walter, demotion. Very good. Brethren, if you would be so kind as to file through and pay your respects to Right Worshipful Brother Johnson.
So we're each going to maybe say, for those who want to, maybe say a thing or two, briefly. So Dick, I was thinking about what I might say to you, and I was actually sitting outside the lodge, and I thought to myself, really, looking at the lodge, I said, Dick Johnson is United Brethren Lodge. Now, Dick, that's a metaphor. And I know you consider yourself an educated man, having completed 6th grade 4 times. And really, I think everyone will agree, when we look at United Brethren Lodge, you look at the building, it's really not much to look at. It's short, it's squat, it's not beautiful. But
kind of like you, Joe.
Indeed. But it's made of concrete and steel and rebar and has strong foundations. And Dick Johnson is responsible for a lot of that, as are some others. And for his 50 years, what he's given to masonry and to this lodge is immeasurable. Other similarities to United Brethren Lodge. You know, we've had a lot of problems here with plumbing and other things internally. Dick, has had a few problems with his ticker. Thank God they've been repaired, and he's helped us repair our lodge so that Dick can be around to torture us for a few more years and bless us with his presence. Other things that are not really seen, the spirit that he brings to this lodge. So the spirit that he incorporates with all of us, that he's taught us over the years, the lessons, the guideposts that he's shown to us. To me personally, he's been an inspiration. He inspires the young officers, and maybe in his later years, he might be the guy essentially saying in Masonic terms, hey, you kids, get off of my lawn, but that's okay. But the truth is, he brings us so much joy and happiness. And for some of you that may not come to many of our lodge meetings, we have moments of jocularity in this lodge. Hard to believe. So, yeah, Dick and I and a few others belong to Columbian Lodge, which is 1st District, and we may at times be a little looser than they are. And Dick may be the ringleader up there, bringing some joy and happiness to us. in that in so many other ways. And I know that we often talk about fraternal love, but I'll say, I'm not afraid to say this. Now, I'm full-blooded Italian. My mother, my relatives are off the boat. I'll tell you this, I love this man. I love him, I respect him for what he's taught me, for what he's done to me in this lodge. I can't thank you enough, Dick. Thank you for everything.
Anyone else would like to say a few words?
I want to thank you and a very good friend of yours, Dick Carini, when we moved into the new building. They did a lot of tremendous, they did the kitchen cabinets in Island, Canada. And they did it in the afternoon. They left their businesses and they worked on that for several weeks, if not a month, in the kitchen. And I want to thank you for that.
I don't have the words like Joe does, but I'd like to thank you for your leadership and dedication, both to the lodge and to the corporation as well.
Push it up.
I want to thank you for all the help you gave me when I was master and all that. And I'd like to say other things, but my father told me one thing. You can't say anything good, don't say nothing.
He's a wise man.
I'd like to say that I'd like to thank you for all that you've done for, as well as the lodge and the corporation. But just remember, I'm 5 years older, 5 days older, and I've been in the lodge 10 more years than you have. You've got a ways to go. I look forward to your
Thank you for being a guy who liked doing my character. I appreciate it immensely. Thank you so much.
Dick, in June will be my 47th year in masonry and knowing you. And I'm just glad I was here to teach you everything you know. Congratulations.
Been friends for a long time. Yeah. Been a pleasure to know you and Joan. We've had good times for many years. It's a pleasure to see you and be in front of you. Thank you. Thank you, Richard.
I'm gonna go back a few years.
Many.
Well, the year before you joined. I was senior warden at the time. And I think Al Kramer raised you? Okay?
Well, Bailey did. but
It
Kramer
was it past masters like that?
Yeah,
Yes.
Kramer was the master.
Yes. I just wanted to say a few things that people don't know about Dick.
Bring it on.
No, this is all good.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Well, retail.
Unfortunately, when I was master, this edifice of ours burnt down. And it took up a lot of my time. And one of the things I did was happen to be head of the fundraising. And a lot of the members pledged for 3 years what they would give. Dick pledged, like everybody else, we pledged. But only 4 people honored their pledges. Dick was one of the 4. So with that showed his intensity and his determination of being a Mason. The other thing I want to say that everybody knows that he does beef eaters. But that, I think, is one of the best things that, on your epitaph, that is written. Here lies the beef eater king. Because we've met when I say we, a lot of the members, even in this lodge, have met new members. We've met relatives that I never knew that we had, were in other lodges that showed up. So thanks, Dick, for that particular. The other thing I want to say, that and nobody knows that Dick is an excellent typist. Being chairman of the board of trustees of the corporation, and that, I'll go into that a little bit later, Dick was very persuasive in getting me to run as president again. I did way back in 1976, 77, but back 20 years ago, he got me to run. He goes, we need you. So I did it for 20 years. So we finally talked another person to do it. Dick, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Leo. Thank you very much.
Well, after all these years.
Yep.
Joe Delano, worshipful Joe Delano, has mentioned everything that I was going to say.
He does that, you know.
But I'm glad of it.
Oh, okay.
Because I've got a little trouble speaking. Okay? I want to thank you personally, here and now, in front of all these people, for everything you've done for me. You helped me in my 2 years of being tremendously. I want to congratulate you wholeheartedly.
Sutton?
I'm coming up.
Oh, okay.
Dick, when I was making my journey from the west to the east, you and Dennis invited me to go on a little golf excursion out in western Massachusetts. And that was the longest day of my life. 9 hours, 2 hours out, 5 hours on the golf course, and 2 hours back of wisdom from Dick to me. Just over and over and on and on. And I appreciate it. And I really, I can't say enough about your contributions to the lodge. Thank you.
Very worshipful Dick, one of the first faces that I saw when I joined this lodge. We're sorry. When I was missing, you called, you checked on me. When my wife was sick, you came, you visited. We visited each other when we were sick, and I want to thank you for everything.
Well, I have heard about a dozen guys come up here and give all kinds of thanks to this guy. I think his name is Dick. I haven't been paying much attention to him. No, but seriously, you've been a mentor and a good role model for everybody who's in this lodge, myself included. And it's been a pleasure to know you through the last almost 20 years for myself now.
Thank you, Randy.
May you have many more years.
Thank you so much.
I actually had a joke to tell. Considering some of the company, I think I better hold off. I'll use his words of wisdom, you know, not having anything positive to say, I'll just stay quiet.
Dick, echoing several of the other brothers, you truly have become a remarkable presence in my life. For that, I thank you. I've learned a lot, some of it a little bit more practical than others. I now know when next traveling the Middle East and I'm at the airport and there are no cars to be rented and I have to rent a camel, I know exactly what to do.
Dick, everyone's been raising your praise tonight, and I just say, I'm up here because of you.
You know, when I was raised, you convinced me to be the inside sentinel. You lied to me and said I would never have to leave that chair. But thank you anyways.
Dick, you have been a mentor to pretty much everybody in this cadre over here, including myself. Not only as master, but on the day that I was interviewed by the most worshipful Grand Master of Masons at the time, I got a phone call from you saying, I have something for you to do on this day. And it just so happened to be the day that I was supposed to be installed as District Deputy Grand Master. So, you obviously had an in with somebody.
Oh, perish the thought.
But I will also always most fondly remember being in the Oriental chair and having you and Right Worshipful Dennis Riebel present me with a pot and a window. And if anybody wants to find out about that, I'll tell you, but just not here. So, you're awesome. All right? I hope I can make it to 50 years and be as generous and as good a brother as you are. Thank you.
Very worshipful. I'd like to thank you for giving me positive criticism when I was master of the slot.
It was my pleasure.
I want to thank you for it. When I was doing a lot of rituals, messing up, you always put a smile on my face when I was so upset and I messed up with certain words, and you always came up to me, whispered the correct word. But you was always nice about it. You wasn't a jerk like some people.
Thank you, George.
Right Worshipful, it's a distinct pleasure that I get to sit in the East in your 50th anniversary. Several years ago, I was having a conversation with your son Rick. I said, you know, God forbid, when Dick is no longer with us, we're going to need 5 people to replace him. And that's not a joke. You know, many of you know he moved down to the Cape, and that was not a short ride. But you're here all the time. You come up for meetings. We appreciate it. And your son said something. I'm sorry, I'm going to steal something else from you there. He said something to me. I'm a fan of alternative histories. What could have been type thing. And he said, imagine what would United Brethren Lodge be if Dick Johnson had never been. And I do not know if we would be, frankly, the standout lodge that we are now. And I think we're incredibly grateful that you are part of it. And congratulations on your 50-year anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Any rebuttal? All right. Worshipful District Deputy Grand Marshal.
That's me.
You will conduct the past masters to their seats.
Please follow behind, stay in step, don't get lost.
I'm going to break protocol a little bit and take off my gloves.
No.
The apple doesn't fall far from So as I've seen this done a few times, we'll regale you with some history.
If you can remember.
Yeah. Well, I had to dig in the archives because some of these things I wasn't born yet. "50 years ago in March." You know, I tried to find something of interest that happened specifically on March 5th, besides your raising. And I couldn't really find too much interesting in world history. I did see two young ladies who were born today 50 years ago, but we won't mention that right now. Actresses and models.
Oh,
We don't need to talk about that.
So I didn't know that.
No. Gerald Ford was president 50 years ago this month. Nelson Rockefeller, vice president. Interestingly enough, 50 years ago, color television was first broadcast officially in Australia. The United Nations first observed International Women's Day this month, 50 years ago.
I had nothing to do with that.
The Ford F-150 truck was introduced in 1975. And the price of gas, let's see, do you remember how much the price of gas was in 1975?
38 cents?
Not too far, 53 cents a gallon. The Wheel of Fortune debuted on NBC in 1975. Can anyone guess what the top grossing movie in North America was in 1975?
Jaws.
That's it. Jaws made $260 million. The price of a movie ticket was $2.03. The top-rated television show in 1975, any guesses?
Laughing.
All in the Family.
All in the Family. Somebody knows their trivia. The top hit song, 1975.
Disco Inferno?
No. No.
Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet Boys. Love Will Keep Us Together, Captain and Tennille.
Oh, God.
The most popular fast food chain at the time was Yo Quiero Taco Bell. The Pittsburgh Steelers won the Super Bowl in 1975. The Cincinnati Reds won the World Series.
It was a dark time.
And Jack Nicklaus won his 5th Masters golf tournament, along with his win at the PGA Championship. All happened in 1975. And yours truly was probably still dividing cells in utero. To be born later the same year.
Oh, okay.
But those are just some of the highlights in 1975. I don't know how many of those you remember with fondness, or something else that was more interesting to you that year. Would you like to share anything?
Not yet.
Not yet. So everyone here knows who you are. And I don't know that we should belabor your illustrious career, but for the sake of those who don't know or don't remember, we'll just touch on a couple of the highlights. Obviously tonight, exactly 50 years ago, March 5th, 1975, you were raised to the sublime degree, Master Mason. You then served as Worshipful Master of United Brethren Lodge, 1984. You served as District Deputy Grand Master 1985 through 1987. Grand Pursuant to Right Worshipful Al Campbell, past Junior Grand Warden. Rose, excuse me, pardon me. Al Rose, 1990. You were then Deputy Grand, in 1988, Pursuant for Al Rose, and Deputy Grand Master in 1990. You also served as Potentate of the Shrine, 2003, and many, many, many other offices and distinguished awards and medals and recognition, too numerous to recite. But those are a few of the highlights. And on this 50th anniversary of your joining the Lodge, personally I want to say you've been a mentor to me, and I appreciate getting to know you. You raised me on this very night, 2008. And it was past Master's Night, I remember. I think Worshipful Sutton was Master of the Lodge, and you were sitting in the East. So thank you very much for your mentorship, your guidance. I appreciate everything, all that you've done for us, and I look forward to many more years of your wise counsel.
Oh, me too.
Thank you so much. And a special thank you goes to Mrs. Joan Johnson.
Yes,
For letting him come out and play with us. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Well, that's when her boyfriend comes to visit.
Oh, well, we won't mention that. Worshipful Rick Johnson. I give you the floor for a few words if you'd like to say anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dick Johnson. I knew him for 2 years before he became a Mason. He was awful. Masonry has created a wonderful human being, a model American. So, right, Worshipful? Congratulations on 50 years. I love you, Dad. Of your office. So wear this with pride, because United Brethren Lodge is a better place because you have been here.
Here, here. Here, here. Here, here.
Now you have a rebuttal.
I'm gonna have to give my knees a break, but because of my age, I can't speak extemporaneously or off the cuff as I used to do. And when you get to be this age, I think you'll know why I do this. For the Masons that have been here, and have been to this lodge or other lodges where a veteran receives his 50-year medal, and he says, "Oh, thank you very much, I've enjoyed my 50 years," and he goes and sits down. I think that one of the things we're missing is the ability to know a little bit about the individual rather than just a person in a suit standing up and receiving a medal. So I put my thoughts down. And I'd like to start off with, in closing, this is Joe Delano's favorite comment. He hates speeches, so I'm punishing him with this one. 50 years ago tonight, I was elevated to the degree of Master Mason in United Brethren Lodge. I was part of one of the last candidate classes to complete the degree before the old lodge building burned to the ground on December 7th, 1975, and I had nothing to do with it. I am also the lone survivor of the class. Since that tragic loss, Masonry has been my life. There were good times as well as bad times. There were times I put Masonry ahead of my family, which I truly regret. I have been blessed with friendships that are still in existence, as evidenced by those who are here tonight. During these past 50 years, I have been in many, many leadership roles during my career because there were other Masons who saw something in me that I did not. There are a couple who should be recognized for
for their trust in me, such as Most Worshipful Albert T. Ames and Right Worshipful Al Rose. Al Rose recommended me to succeed him as a District Deputy Grand Master for the Marlborough 24th Masonic District. Al Rose and I became very close friends, and we traveled together for many years. I served as his Grand Pursuant while he served as Junior Grand Warden of the Grand Lodge. I followed him at Aleppo Temple Shrine, where we both served as potentates. He mentored me all along the way, and I'm so grateful for his wise counsel and guidance. Al Ames was instrumental in me becoming Deputy Grand Master under Most Worshipful Edgar W. Darling. What have I accomplished in those 50 years? There's a purpose for what I'm about to say. First of all, I fathered two great children. I was Master of United Brethren Lodge, Treasurer of the Lodge for 10 years, was District Deputy Grand Master for the Marlborough 24th Masonic District, appointed Deputy Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Massachusetts. I was Chairman of the Masonic Training Program in Grand Lodge for 17 years and served as Director of Education for 10 years. I served on the Grand Lodge Long Range Planning Committee for 3 years, elected President of the Marlborough Masonic Building Association for several years, appointed Grand Representative for the Grand Lodge of Ecuador, a Sovereign Prince in Scottish Rite, member of the York Rite. I served 12 years on the Board of Directors at the Shrine Hospital in Springfield, and elected potentate of Aleppo Shrine. I'm sure I've left something out, but the importance of this message is to point out that each of you can make a difference. Just learn to accept what you can do, but don't be afraid to say no when you can't. All these organizations have never held the same love and dedication that I had for my lodge. This is where my heart lies. My lodge has been the most important aspect of Masonry, and when it comes time for me to lay down the working tools, I hope my efforts will not have been in vain. I take my obligation seriously and will never forsake that solemn vow. I will admonish the officers and members of United Brethren Lodge to focus on what you have to offer this exceptional lodge. I'm a very wealthy man tonight. Not in the financial aspect, but wealth measured in memories and friendships. Each of you here tonight has given me memories that I cherish. I can lose all of my worldly possessions, but the memories will always comfort me. They will always be with me. I am grateful and pleased to have my family with me tonight, starting with my grandchildren, Jonas, Carly, Kyle, and Justin. I also have my daughter Cheryl, her husband Michael could not make it tonight, my son Rick, and my wife Joan of almost 56 years. My wife has always stood beside me and behind me, pushing, poking. She's been my counsel, my motivation, and my love. I could never have accomplished all I did without her encouragement and support. There were hundreds of nights that she sat at home while I was out doing Masonic events. For that, I feel a sense of sadness that I took advantage of her understanding and support.
How many Masons does it take to open a box?
Something to feed the crows.
This is for the lady that meant so much to me over the past 56 years. The diamonds are on back order. I've experienced a very rewarding 50 years that many never get the joy to experience. Some drift away, and some never live long enough to see such a monumental milestone. In the twilight of my years, I encourage each Mason to emulate the successes that I have enjoyed. Embrace the leadership roles that are offered to you. Live life to the fullest, but realize the rank of the importance of the stages of success: family, vocation, religious preference, and Masonry. All in that order. Thank you to my friends and family and United Brethren Lodge. I owe so much to so many members of the Lodge. I cannot thank them all enough. I am fulfilled at last. Thank you for making this a special night. God bless you.
There's one more thing that I need to invest you with. Everybody knows your name, but every time I see you, you're just like not fully clothed here. So I'm sure you have a collection of these, but now you have one more. So now everybody can know your name.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Very good.
Appreciate it.
And at this time, I would like to recognize a few of our permanent members of Grand Lodge, starting with Most Worshipful Richard James Stewart.
1975, I was master of Athelstan Lodge. And I was also involved in what they call the Worcester Scottish Highlands. And Right Worshipful Brother Johnson, as he progressed, he wanted to have the team here, and we came here, and that was the first time I had met Dick. And I'll make it very brief. He was a Deputy Grand Master in 1990. And somehow, he had mentioned it to Grand Master, Brother Dowling, and I think you were the creator of me being, following you as Deputy Grand Master.
No, nobody else would take it.
And as a result of that, I progressed along, and I would not be standing here today as a past Grand Master of our Grand Lodge if it wasn't for that you introduced me to. I'm sure you were the one that created the roadway for me to come along to become Grand Master. And I appreciate it. And like you say, there were some great days and there were some tough days. And you wish you were pushing a broom somewhere. But I'm now 84 years old, been a Mason for 60 years, and you just wonder where the time goes. But it sneaks up on you. And we both are looking along here, so we're still here to talk about it. Anyway, we're on the right side of the grass. We're not looking up at the roots. So thank you, Dick, for all you've done for me.
Next up, Right Worshipful Peter Randall.
Right Worshipful District Deputy Grand Master, Worshipful Master, Distinguished Patron, and Dick. We had the good fortune of meeting when you were Deputy Grand Master in 1990 under Edgar Darling, and I was the newbie as a steward getting introduced to Grand Lodge. Also just got married during that year. A lot of things up in the air. But we've had the good fortune of our paths crossing several times in the last 35 years since then. And I want to say thank you for all the efforts. I know you do a lot of work with this building and this lodge and how much building associations means to you. But I want to thank you for coming out to Westwood, where my mother lodge is, and helping us not only with the building, but with the lodge as well, and helping bring some guidance to us to move us along. And so sharing your experiences with us. So for that, I thank you, and it's a pleasure to be with you tonight.
Right Worshipful Christopher St. Cyr, would you like to say a few words?
Right Worshipful District Deputy Grand Master, Worshipful Master, I am standing. See, you went and ruined it. I was going to say nice stuff, and I'm not. My brother, I just wanted to say congratulations. I'm glad you're still here with us. Yeah. But honestly, you truly are a light to the fraternity. This is unbelievable how many people came out for you. This shows the love. Just the past masters alone. You don't see that very often. You are cherished in this lodge and in this district. Congratulations.
Hear, hear. Am I missing any other permanent members of Grand Lodge? Seeing none. I'd like to acknowledge our Grand Lodge Station Officer, Right Worshipful James Gagne, Grand Sword Bearer. And my counterpart in the 2nd District, Right Worshipful Ron Higgins. I don't want to keep anybody from collation, but I would like to give anybody an opportunity to speak if you have a few brief words.
I have simple jokes.
No, we don't need those jokes. Right Worshipful Wayne Robbins, do you have a few words?
Right Worshipful District Deputy Grand Master, Worshipful Master, when I start to speak, the words "in the beginning" are mine. Thank you. I would like to take the opportunity to thank Right Worshipful Johnson for the friendship that we have grown into over the years. I was introduced to him by a stranger to many of the people in this room. That would be Right Worshipful Clayton Arthur Bemis, pretty well known. And Dick bought a house in Wareham, and he came from Northborough. And Clay was donated. He inherited one in Indian Mount. And he was from Bridgewater. And I came from Brockton. And I live in Plymouth. All within 3 miles of each other. And nothing to do with the other. So what I think it represents is that great people attract great people. And they make each other better. Because we can all learn something. And I figure, well, it took me 3 years to get through the 10th grade. So I'm figuring that maybe by the time the 75th commemoration comes out, I can learn a little bit more from Dick. It's because every day he has something else to offer. Every day, if you pay attention, you might grasp 50% of what there is there to get. And I think the words brother, integrity, humility, all can be used when we think of Right Worshipful Richard Johnson. And very thankful to be able to be called a friend and a brother. Congratulations, Nick. All right? And of course his lovely family. All right? It's been great to know all of you. All right? And I'm blessed to know you. Thank you very much, Frederick.
Thank you. Right Worship.
Thank you. That's a hard one to follow. My goodness. I'm fairly a newcomer to our friendship, Dick, as you know. But I've been the most recent, one of the ones with the most recent benefactors of Dick's kindness and caring. All the other things that other people have said are really true. But Dick reached out to me time and time again, kept me busy, kept me thinking, phone would ring, and he'd be there 2 or 3 times a week if it need be. Our friendship means a great deal to me, as you do know. And I can't tell you more than this. I'm a better man for it. I'm a better Mason for it. And I look forward to the future carrying Dick's wisdom with me wherever I go. And I thank you so much for reaching out when you did. You made a true change in my life.
Was there anyone else that had a few words?
Jack.
Brother Crosby?
Wasn't prepared for this, but as he was pointing, this is 41 years ago. I was raised by Dick in his when he was master, along with 3 other brothers, and we're all still here. We've been best friends, great friends for a long, long time, and he's done a lot for us, and really appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Carly, would you like to say something?
Yes.
Oh, please do.
Finally.
Please do. The floor is yours, young lady.
Okay. Dick. You're my only grandfather, as you know. And the best frickin' grandfather I could ask for, and you make the best gosh darn French toast, so I think you should stop beef eaters and start breakfast eaters. Okay, now I'm thrilled and I'm happy.
Our illustrious cameraman, I know you're full of stories, but maybe you'll regale us at collation. All right. Well, if no one else has anything to say in open lodge, I'm sure there will be plenty of stories to pass around during collation over hot dogs and pop. Ah, Lady Rose.
I don't know if I can stand up, but.
That's fine.
That's fine.
We'll come to you.
Microphone right there, George. Just give it.
Microphone.
Here, are you gonna hold it?
You can hold it.
Okay. Dick, on behalf of Al, what more can I say to you and to Joan except you have the blessings of Al and myself of everything in your life to come true. You have been an amazing human being in every way, and we love you. Thank you.
Am I missing anyone else?
No.
Right, worshipful? No.
Right Worshipful.
You already went.
If there are other 50-year members of Grand Lodge here, such as myself, I would like if it would assemble in the east after you close the lodge, and we can get a photograph of the 50-year members.
That's a marvelous idea. Thank you for suggesting.
Thank you.
So if you didn't hear that, would all 50-year veteran medal recipients please assemble in the east after closing so we can take a photograph? And with that, Worshipful District Deputy Grand Marshal, you will conduct the chaplain to the altar, then tend the lights.
Stay tuned for more stories and tales about our lodge and its members. Take a look at these pictures. Can you recognize the members or identify the events that they were attending?